Welcome to the Relationships and Chill podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why you need a mate. Why do you need a mate? I know I run across a lot of people that talk about how they don't need someone, but they want somebody. What kind of sense does that make? Anyway, we're going to find out. So stay tuned. Peace.
You're listening to Relationships and Chill, the podcast for singles and couples about how to find and cultivate the relationship you've always dreamed of, based on trust and honest communication. Why waste your time going through the typical dating obstacle course, only to end up with drama, jealousy, and heartbreak, when you can find the love of your life and live happily ever after? So sit back, chill, and get ready to make relationships great again.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings. Welcome to another edition of the Relationships and Chill podcast. I am your gracious host, Coach R. Anthony, and I am back with another episode. And this episode, I wanted to talk about why we actually need a mate. Now, if you're not familiar, this is the Relationships and Chill podcast, the ultimate podcast for relationships and dating. Again, I'm your host, Coach R. Anthony. I hope you guys have been enjoying the episodes that we've been posting. Make sure you guys definitely give us a thumbs up or subscribe and rate. Let us know what you think and contribute to us by giving us your thoughts and your ratings. And 5 stars would be amazing. And so we appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Now, today I want to talk to you guys about why do we need mates? Why do you need a man? Why do you need a woman? Why? Because I ran into some ladies the other day, and they were telling me, we were talking, everything was just fine and dandy when we were talking about all kinds of other stuff. And I was showing them some stuff that I do on the website, relationshipsandchill.com. I was showing them some blogs and all that kind of stuff. And me and one of the young ladies just started talking. And then the other one chimed in and was like, I'm going to give you the best piece of advice that I ever heard about relationships. Now, she's married now. Don't get it. This is the crazy part about it. She's married now. So if you're listening, I'm talking about you. But anyway, she's married, and I thought it was interesting. And this is why I'm doing this, because, you know, when you have a bunch of women that have a strong opinion about whatever it is, then you probably won't get a word in. Okay, you probably won't be able to get one word in if it's contrary to what is being spoken or what is being said. They'll be interested because it's so far fetched from what they think, but they'll also be kind of like whatever too at the same time. So it's a weird thing, a weird blend of whatever / I'm interested in what you have to say. I just don't want to hear it because I want to be right in what I believe. Now, here's the thing. The truth of the matter is no one is independent, right? Because a lot of people, specifically women, because I never heard men say I'm an independent man. And I heard Dr. John Gatman, he said this one quote in one of his books that really changed. It didn't change, but it put it in perspective for me. He said that men get on teams to play games, to play the game. And he said that women, on the other hand, he said that men get on teams to compete. And women compete to get on teams. I thought that was a very interesting quote. Because for men, I don't think men have an independent mentality. And, you know, for the most part, I think we understand that we're part of a bigger whole piece, because we're usually, like, for the majority of men, we start off doing very, very extreme. Not saying women don't. Now, don't get it twisted, okay? I'm not saying that women don't, but men really have start off with very hands-on type work, right? Where you got to lift stuff, you got to move stuff, move furniture, do this, do that. And we're used to doing that, and we're used to working with each other. Like, hey, you get that in, I get this in, or you do this and I'll do that in order for us to get this thing moving. But women are more social in their interactions as younger ladies. And so there's more intricacies in the type of relationships that they begin to build. And I think by the end of it all, what begins to happen, especially as women or especially as people go through relationships, you start to develop basically your stance on how you believe relationships should go, right? So if you've been going through relationships and you've been hurt after hurt after hurt after hurt, then you're going to try to find some kind of way to protect yourself from being hurt more. That just makes sense. And so with these ladies, you know, they were more so saying that they didn't need a man to pay their bills and do all this stuff, which is cool. But they were like, well, we do need a man for sex. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing we do need men for. But then, you know, you run into the problem of, if that's your mentality as it relates to the opposite sex period, then you're going to run into, now I know for men, this ain't going to be no problem. Then you run into, your energy is now starting to project that you're only good for sexual pleasure. You know what I mean? So after that, then the relationship has no room to progress, because it's like I said in the previous episode about why a man should not chase a woman, is because if the relationship is purely built on sexual energy and the sexual chase, after you get to a certain point, it starts to erode and break down, because sex is not enough to keep a relationship going. It's not enough to keep a relationship strong. There has to be other components within the relationship that causes it to stay together, that causes it to stay it causes it to continuously grow, continuously build and progress, because sex is a one-trick pony. Now, you could do all kinds of stuff within sex, but at the end of the day, if there's no ejaculation, then what's the point on both sides? You know, and if there's no climax, and so the end goal is climax. You can reach an end goal in sex, but with life, you don't really reach end goals. And so that's where the fun comes in a relationship, because there is no end to it. There will be continuous growth spurts, and then there'll be plateaus, and then you got to figure out. So there's a lot more moving parts that you have to work together on, which causes for your growth as an independent person, as a unique entity within the relationship. It causes you to be constantly pushed and pulled in so many directions, that this is really the intimate relationships are really the only relationships that you can get this close contact with, and this mirror effect where you see immediately the results of what you're doing and what you're not doing. So with the mentality that I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, but I want one. First of all, what do you want one for if you don't need it? Like, I don't understand. Like, for me, I personally don't understand that. Like, of course, you know, you want a lot of stuff, but that don't mean you're going to get it. But when it comes to stuff that we need, it's really about knowing what you need. So, but when it comes to stuff that is necessary to our life, we will do pretty much everything that we can within our power to get it, or we'll have to go without. And then when you go without, because I'm getting back to the story. When you go without, then you begin to have to tell yourself the reason why you go without. Now you have to create a reason. Now you have to create an issue. More if it's something that you well, I just couldn't get it because XYZ, because there ain't no good men out there, or there ain't no good women out there, or marriage it doesn't work, or you know, stuff like that. Then you create these narratives to justify why you are not getting what you need or what you want. Both of them, actually, as a matter of fact. So for a woman to say that she doesn't need a man, but she wants a man, but in the reality of it is, at that moment, especially around other women, which is the funny part, around other women, oh yeah, you're going to be the strongest woman on earth. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, I don't need no man. Woo, you're going to. But when you go home at night, when it's cold outside, you know what I'm saying? Who are you holding? And then the only person you holding is that pillow and that dude named James every now and again that come over and put in work and then leave. And that's cool, if that's your thing. But I'm talking about if you are looking to be within a relationship, or Jody, not James. Well, James and Jody. So anyway, if you're looking to be in a healthy, progressive relationship, right? I believe that you have to develop the necessity for someone, because if not, they're not needed. There will be no need if you don't have a necessity. So, and by that I mean, if you don't understand why you need a mate in order to in life, then you will never get a mate in life. You can want, because you're gonna want a lot of stuff. Say for instance, you get a person who you want, you get somebody you want, right? But that's not going to be the end of what you want. You're gonna always want something. You're going to always want to have something from a person. And with wants, they're a lot more inflated than needs. You have more wants than you have needs. So when you have a relationship, your wants are infinite, but your needs from a person are not infinite. They're not. They're very finite. They're very condensed. And then you can categorize what a person, so you don't overinflate the relationship by having all these wants. You're able to narrow it down to needs. So what do you need from your mate? So there's a couple things that I realize. Like I said, independence. There's no such thing as independence. So the understanding, there's no such thing as an independent person. There's a such thing as a self-sufficient person. Now you can be self-sufficient and do for yourself, but you're not independent in the sense that you need somebody to make them shoes that you got on your feet, to, you know what I'm saying, make them clothes that you got on your back and on your hips or whatever, your leg quarters, the half quarter of your body. You have somebody to make those things. You ain't out there making that stuff and making your own food and growing your own food. Like, you're depending on somebody. But to be self-sufficient, even if you're working, you're dependent on some man or some woman that have created the opportunity for you to find that job. So you're not independent unless you have your own company, but then you're still dependent on your customers. So without customers, there's no point in having no company. So we're all interdependent on something or someone. So let's get that out of the way. We all depend on someone. So there's no such thing as independent woman, independent man. Self-sufficient, I can go with that. Self-sufficient, you maintain yourself. You know, you go to work and use the money that you make from work to keep your lifestyle for yourself and your kids. I get that. I'm with you on that. But when it comes to dealing with a specific entity outside of yourself, why do you need a mate? Why do you need them if you're able to self-sustain yourself? If you're able to and I'm about to get to why, but why do you need someone? See, the reason why I created Relationships and Chill is because life without relationships is no life at all. You know, from the time we come into this world, we have a relationship with our parents, our guardians, whoever the case may be. We have a relationship with someone, and we talked about that. Me and Genesis, Games, licensed mental health counselor, in the previous episode, and we talked about how we develop attachments to different entities. Our parents, our romantic relationships, our relatives, friends. You know, we develop all these different attachments, and we create an attachment style, meaning how we start to bond with people starts to move us in a certain direction of how we will continuously bond. Unless something extreme happens, then we continue to have the similar attachment style. So, but on the flip side of that, you know, it could be on both sides. It's a double-edged sword to that, because you can have great relationships and then everything flows from there. Or you can have horrible relationship and your life starts to go downhill from there, meaning somebody introduces you to drugs, you know what I mean? Whatever kind of lifestyles that people, you know, shun, somebody introduced someone to that lifestyle. Or the type of life that we look up to, the people that we look up to, somebody helped them get there. Some kind of relationship was formulated to help them get there. And the first and best relationship, there's this book I want you guys to check out. Now, I don't want you to tell everybody about it, because it's not something that I tell everybody about, but it's called The Law of Success in 16 Lessons, right? And in this book, it was written by Napoleon Hill a long time ago, before Think and Grow Rich came out. Before Think and Grow Rich came out, this book was created, I think about 10 years earlier. And in this book, he talks about the mastermind and how Henry Ford and all these different guys had the mastermind, like this group of people that would get together and they would come up with ideas. They would think about ideas. And the premise and the idea behind it was that when you combine all these different people together, they create this super brain, this super mind that brings ideas, brings new energy into your life based on the relationships that you have with these people. So even in the scripture, it says where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. So in this particular book, it's talking about how a husband and a wife are the first mastermind. So usually couples that get together are a mastermind at destruction. But if you do it right, you can be a couple of progression. You can come together and progress in your relationship. And you can have whatever you want to have because 2 is better than 1. And when you are able to have somebody backing you up and you're backing them up and you guys are working together as a collective, as a unit, then you are able to move and surpass a lot of the issues that you would have crumbled under. So growth happens within a relationship or within relationships, period. We progress better and faster within relationships. We were designed for relationships. Like I said, if you guys go and listen to the previous episode with me and Genesis Games, licensed mental health counselor, we talk about that also, how our minds, our brains are designed for bonding. Like as soon as we come out of the womb, we're looking for a connection. We're crying for connection because we grow in connection. We grow in the womb of our parents or of our mother. We grow in the sack of our fathers, of course, but we actually morph and we develop within the womb of the mother. So nobody's independent. You came into this world dependent. You came in this world from your father's sack to your mother's womb to the doctor's hands or the doula's hands, and now you're here. You didn't just pop out of the sky and say, you know what? I don't need nobody. You ain't just appear out of nowhere, out of thin air and say, you know what? I don't need nobody. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. I don't need nobody for nothing. No, you came in this world based on a relationship, based on relationships. And so and this is here, and here we go. So to say that you don't need anybody is usually to protect yourself. Usually people who say that are because they usually say this, specifically women say this because they have been in relationships with men that they felt and they wanted. Now here's the key. They wanted something that the man did not do. Keyword wanted. The key word there is wanted. So when you want something that somebody is not doing, then of course you're going to feel as though, you're going to feel heartbroken. And that's going to happen in every relationship that you get into. That's not going to change because if you are basing it on wants, you have so many wants that you cannot even narrow them down. If you just say, I want a man, well, shoot, you know how many men there are in this world? There's billions of men. Now, when you start talking about what you need from a man, now we cooking with some fire, because now we can start actually moving into specifics. And these specifics now begin to tell you whether or not you should progress within a relationship with this person. Because if you say, I don't want somebody, you are now counseling out the necessities that you need from a person. And those basic necessities are what you should look for in a person, not what you want. And this is why I wrote The Husband Material Guide. If you get that book, I promise you it will change your life. I talk about how you have all these wants and don't wants and all this kind of stuff. Now, I also say that you focus on what you want, but I'm being more specific in this particular episode. I shouldn't even post this. I should add this on to that, but no. So the first step is to get out of what you don't want. Okay, that's the first step. So I'm doing this in steps. Now, in the Husband Material Guide, I talk about wants, right? So that's the next step. That's just, at least let's just focus on what you want. Then we get into what you need, because now we're going to narrow it down even more. So the checklist is really a list of needs from a mate. This is what you need him to do. So in the guide, there's a checklist that I talk about the needs and the necessities that you would need from him as a woman. And I'm working on something for the men that these are going to be the components that you would need from her, from your wife. Because if you don't boil down your needs and condense them from what you want, you're never going to find satisfaction in a relationship, because a person can only give you so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even go to a restaurant and try to order everything in the world. No, they have a very specific thing called a menu. And in that menu, they have a list of a select few options. They don't give you all the options in the world. They give you a few options within their parameters. If not, you got to go somewhere else to get those other options. And so people are like that. We only can give you so many options. You know, and it's funny because a woman or a man will go to a restaurant and know for a fact that they're not going to be able to get everything from this restaurant, but they'll want everything from a potential mate. You know what I'm saying? No, the restaurant says, hey, this is what we got. Now, based on what you need, what you got a taste for, then you can say, okay, I got a taste for this. So let me get it. Maybe I have to get a little variation of chicken wings. You know what I mean? Like, I might have to get the chicken, boneless chicken wings. You know, I don't eat meat, so I forgot all about that stuff. So anyway, no one is independent, you know, and you know, when you start getting into what you need from a person, it becomes more easier to pinpoint whether or not this person is able to fulfill your needs. And it's easier to communicate the things that we need as opposed to the things that we want. Because shoot, the necessity is bread, food, water, clothing, shelter, you know what I'm saying, and air. That's pretty simple. Now, what kind of food? Now we're starting to get into like wants and preferences and stuff like that. When you start talking about what kind of water, you know what I'm saying? What kind of food you like? What kind of air you need? What kind of stuff do you need or want? You know what I'm saying? But but the basics are the 5 things that I just mentioned. Now, what kind you want? Now, when it all comes down, you'll take whatever. If you thirsty enough, all that crap go out the window. You're going to find the closest water that you can that's drinkable and drink it. No matter how much you want Evian or Dasani or whatever you like. It don't matter. When you thirsty enough and you on that last leg and you dehydrated, hey, listen, as long as it ain't Flint, Michigan water, I'll drink it. Now, I think I would drink that too. Anyway, that's been pretty much today's show. Y'all, we were created for bonds. We were designed for bonds. We need someone. We need a mate. A mate condenses our life and creates the avenue for us to see ourselves for who we truly are, and allows us to grow faster and to progress a lot more in our lives. Because when we're just projecting our wants on people, all the things that we ever wanted in a mate, then of course you're going to be let down, because a person can only give you so many things. They can't give you everything you think you want from a potential mate. And that's where people get messed up at. They think that they're going to get everything they want, or they should get everything that they want when they want it. So you may wanted something 6 months ago, but now you don't. You're like, I want this now. I want you to do this. And then the person's like, well, shoot, give me some time. I'm still like figuring out what I need. What do I want? And in that, you know, it creates a lot of friction within the relationship. So a lot of people put a lot of unnecessary stress on the relationship because of all the things that they want. But it's more important to focus on what you need specifically from a potential mate as an individual. Go back to the first episode where we talk about maintaining your uniqueness. It's very important that you understand what makes you a unique individual. Then you can start establishing what you need. From there to attachment theory, to how you attach to people, to this episode. We got so many amazing stuff. We had Stephen L. Robinson on. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We had Genesis games on here. I mean, we got some amazing stuff coming up. So you guys stay tuned. Make sure you rate this show. Tell all your friends about it. Definitely subscribe and continue to support us and check out the Husband Material Guide, which is available now for sale. You can get it by going to relationshipsandchill.com/the Husband Material Guide. It's going to change your life. It's going to bless your life. I promise you that. But that's been today's episode. You guys have been Coach R. Anthony, the Relationships and Chill podcast, the ultimate podcast for relationships and dating. And we are out of here, y'all. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Relationships and Chill. For more information on cultivating the relationship of your dreams, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Relationships and Chill, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Relationships and Chill TV. You can also visit our website at www.relationshipsandchill.com. Together, let's make relationships great again.